Oh, yes.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we're taking a look at the brand new Marvel Legends controller Build-A-Figure wave, Blue Marvel. The Blue Marvel is definitely one of the lesser-known heroes in the Marvel mythos. Not super obscure, but, he's not your Spider-Man or Wolverine either. So he's a character that started his superhero journey in the 1960s, goes by the name Adam Brashear, and he was just a very accomplished guy. Multiple degrees, he's a football player, ended up joining the Marines during Vietnam, and he engaged in an experiment to create an antimatter reactor, which, in true comic book fashion, backfired, and ended up turning Adam into basically a living antimatter reactor. So he has these very high-level powers that puts him almost kind of like on another plane of existence than just other human beings. In fact, he's actually shown to very often converse with Uatu the Watcher, so that shows his somewhat omnipotent status existing, in the main 616 universe. Anyway, if you've seen my reviews before, you know how this goes. We're going to take a look at Adam's packaging, then we'll put it up, we'll get a quick look at the Build-A-Figure piece, and then we'll see Blue Marvel himself, we'll check out his posability, we'll check out his different accessories. Naturally, I'll be doing some group shots comparisons today, and then at the end of the video, I'll give my final thoughts. So Blue Marvel comes in your standard Marvel Legends packaging. You get your controller call out up here. You get his heroic name, Blue Marvel, down here. Then we get our figure in the main window. Fairly tall character. You can see two punching energy effects right here, which is like his antimatter energy that he harnesses. You get some open hands, or actually more like, I don't know if they're open or weapon wielding. They look like weapon holding hands, which I'm not sure why you'd have those. You got the fists, which will go well with the little punch effects. And then we get one of the legs of the controller. I think it's his right leg, but we'll check here in a second. On this side, you get some nice artwork of Adam. He's kind of holding his fist out, having to glow blue with that energy. And here, you unfortunately just get the same artwork. So they didn't splurge too much on this guy's packaging, unlike Thor's. All right, so we get his name here, Blue Marvel, and then we get his flavor text. And that says, Adam Brashear has overcome evils large and small as the Blue Marvel, a super adventurer and genius scientist who tackles the universe's most complex problems. So he's somewhat like a Reed Richards character, but he's a little more off the grid. He's definitely not as morally compromised as Reed Richards can be. So more of a benevolent Reed. So I guess is a good way to look at him. All right, down here we get our render of the controller, and looks like it's his left leg. So I was wrong. Comes with the left leg. We get our cross cells here for the wave. We get our Iron Man, Herald, Thor, Blue Marvel, Madam Hydra, Speedball, Quake, and US Agent. So a nice varied wave. You get a little bit of everything kind of sprinkled in there. And yeah, that's packaging. It's pretty nice. It would have been better if there were at least two different things of artwork. Usually, if it's well done, there's one piece of artwork on the sides and then a completely different piece on the back. For whatever reason, they only gave Adam here one. Okay, now we see Blue Marvel out of the box. So first, let's take a look at his bath piece, the controller's left leg. It's pretty nice looking. It's got a nice light blue paint wash on the front of the thigh there. And it's got the really nice, dark metallic blue like we saw on the helmet. It's got a double knee joint, which works pretty well. It's ratcheted on both joints, which at least it'll be stable. And then we have a universal ankle. Now this thing scares me a little bit because it's incredibly tight. You see that? I had to exercise this thing a few times before filming this part just to make sure it wasn't going to snap off the first time I tried to actually mess with this thing. I'm still not entirely convinced it won't eventually. That's incredibly tight. I'm afraid the little peg holding the foot on is going to snap eventually. It does have the tilt too, so it's pretty nice. Just I could go for the ankles being a little bit looser just so it doesn't freak me out so much. All right, so Blue Marvel. He unfortunately comes on a very just generic standard bath and not the greatest one either. So he's a fairly tall character and his proportions look okay. I think the arms are a little bit small. I think his arms should be a bit bigger. They use some pretty skinny ones here. And they do have the pins in them, the arms and the legs, so you can tell it's an older buck. Did I say baff again? I think I said a baff. I meant a buck. You know what I meant. All right, so we get his head. It's on the ball joint hinge combo, which is nice. Get your universal shoulders, your bicep swivel, double elbows, and your universal wrists. Now the arms feel like a really soft plastic. You see how much they bend here? I don't like that. That's not good. Doesn't feel very high quality at all. Feels very cheap. All right, so he has an ab crunch, which is nice. He's got a waist swivel. He's got universal hips, but his legs do not splay out far at all. That's all you get for those hips. Doesn't give any more than that. You can at least go front to back okay. You get a thigh swivel, your double knee bend. And it's a good thing he has a double knee bend because each individual knee joint has terrible range. So that's as far as that one goes, right there. And that's as far as that one goes. So thankfully, you got a double knee. And even that, like, that's not a super deep bend. With both joints, like, fully bent, you're getting a little bit more than 90, maybe like a 100-degree bend. I don't know what's going on with that. Not a good design. He's got boot swivel, and then your universal ankles. So, I gotta say, I'm not crazy about the buck they chose for him. It's got a lot of issues. One, like I said, it feels cheap. And the knees are just, they're kind of terrible. Like, he's got double knees, and they don't bend as far as some figures with a single knee bend. So, not great, not great. This is Blue Marvel's first time getting a Marvel Legends toy, as far as I know. And you'd think, like, you know, his one outing that he finally gets could be a little better. Like, they could maybe not cheap out so much on the body for him, but that's what they went with. I guess they didn't feel he was going to be a important enough character to waste a budget on or something. Maybe Thor ate up all his budget with all his shiny new parts. All right, talking about parts, we have those energy effects. And while they look very similar, they are in fact differently molded pieces. You can see the flames just going off in different directions and everything. So that's pretty cool. They're not just two of the same. And they're meant to just slide right over his fists. So he can do his little energy attack thing. Energy punch. And yeah, looks pretty cool, I gotta say. I like the shade of blue they're using. It's almost a purplish blue. Kind of like a royal blue, I guess. And it's nice looking. And they're generic enough to where they can be used with, you know, pretty much any figure that has the right size hands for them to slide over. And, you know, it helps. It helps establish character for this figure. And that's one thing you may have heard me say before that a lot of Legends figures are missing are any sort of effect pieces or accessories that really tell you, like, who this person is and what they do. And especially when it's somebody who has, like, actual superpowers, you kind of want to get a hint of what those powers are. So he at least has some energy effects to show it off. Unlike, say, Speedball, who's coming up later in the wave. So I don't know. I'm happy he has them. I just wish, you know, other figures did too. All right, so that's pretty cool. All right, slides right over the fist. You can use either one. They're interchangeable. Let's check out the other hands. Now, the one hand, now that I have it out, I can see it better. On the left, it's just a normal open hand. Just kind of a relaxed hand. That's pretty cool. And then the other one, like with many of these figures, has a weapon holding hand, like a trigger finger or something. But he doesn't come with any weapons to hold or any items to hold at all. And they do this a lot. I don't know if it's just like what's on the sprue for the buck or something, but they do very often include these weapon holding hands for characters that don't have weapons. Now, of course, that does mean you can give them some other weapon or item to hold on to, and maybe that's why they do it. But it always seems weird that they include those, you know what I mean? Especially when you get some figures who, that's the only pair of hands they have. Like, there are some that just come with two weapon holding hands and have no accessories to hold. I don't know what's going on there. So at least he does get the one more relaxed hand, and then he does have the two cool fists that, you know, you can slide the energy effects over. So while the body's not good, I will say the head sculpt's really nice, the vest is a cool touch, and the effects are pretty cool too. Now, it took me a moment to come up with some kind of group shot for Blue Marvel here because I frankly just don't have any characters that are directly related to him. So I decided to go with like a meeting of the minds, right? Adam here is a bit of a genius. Then, of course, we have two more famous geniuses in the Marvel Universe. We got Reed Richards and Tony Stark. Specifically, this is the Retro Fantastic Four Reed Richards. And then this is the Marvel Legends 20th Anniversary Iron Man. And, you know, you can definitely picture these three great minds just coming together, going over a bunch of concepts and equations that would be far above most people's heads, and, you know, coming up with some really interesting and really cool solutions to the kind of problems that Marvel superheroes tend to deal with. So, yeah, I wish I had more figures to pair with this guy. Like, it'd be nice to have a Spectrum figure or something, since they have a, thing going on. But for now, I think we're just gonna have to settle for smart sciencey dudes, because all three of these guys are smart sciencey dudes. And that's pretty cool in its own right, so there you go. Here's our group shot for the review. Wish I had more, but, as I get more figures, I'll be able to do more and more elaborate group shots. And this completes our look at the new Marvel Legends Blue Marvel. Overall, I think it's a pretty decent figure. He doesn't do anything, amazing or groundbreaking, but it is our first chance to own this character in plastic form. And, he's solid enough. He's on a decent buck. The joint materials are not great, right? He's pretty weak in the knees. Those have a lot of really unnecessary flexibility. But he's got a good face sculpt, he's got a cool jacket, and the, blue energy effects for his hands are pretty nice. So he's a plain figure. He's not going to blow anybody's minds or anything. But, if you are looking for a pretty solid representation of Blue Marvel, I think this covers you. Like, he's not the most famous character out there. He's actually a relatively new character. I think he just debuted in like 2008 or something, which I suppose is a while ago now. Try not to think about that too much. I think it's a decent enough toy. I don't think he's anything special, but I don't think he's a poor figure or, not worth the cost of admission either. He's just kind of middle of the road, and that's okay. Not every toy is going to be a grand slam, and as long as it's not bad, I think that's all right. Of course, that's just how I feel about this figure, so now I want to know what you all think of this toy. Is this something that you want to pick up? Do you know who Blue Marvel is? I'll tell you, I didn't know before getting this figure because I haven't read comics in a while, or at least haven't read a lot of them in a while. Is he somebody you're aware of? Is he somebody you've been waiting for? Or even if he hasn't really been on your radar, are you happy to pick him up? Either because you just need the bath piece, or you think he's a cool enough figure? Or do you not want this? Maybe you don't know the character, or you do know him and you don't like him, or you just don't think the figure's very good. Any and all feedback is always welcome in the comments section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to toss it a like. Let YouTube know you want to see more stuff like this. If you do want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. I thank you for joining me for this look at the brand new Marvel Legends Controller Build-A-Figure Wave, Blue Marvel. And with all that said, I will see you next time.